eventually make the switch. It's an argument that's likely to be repeated. The department says it's fighting. As Anthony Howard reports, locals see it as a fight for democracy.
The only possible adverse effect of fluoride might be mild dental fluorosis, and for which we have put out, very good guidelines on how to avoid that. The benefits, on the other hand, are absolutely indisputable.
Where is our democratic right to choose what we put in our body? I mean, this sort of mass medication is like we're living in Hitler's Germany.
There's a lot of claims that are made, claims, I don't know that we should really air some of these claims because they're just not worth mentioning.
Everyone who's eligible to vote should be able to do so, and then whatever the result is, I think it would be a good indicator to governments at all levels as to how the people really feel about this issue.
In the 30 years since fluoride was introduced to Melbourne's water supply, debate over its benefits has largely lay dormant. But now, as the Department of Human Services prepares to introduce the chemical to water supplies in regional centres like Warrnambool and Ballarat, fluoridation has bubbled back to the surface.
I put a letter, I think, or maybe 2 letters into the paper asking for the council to facilitate a meeting so that the people can get both sides of the story. And then people just started coming through the door, and then they started ringing. And I've been involved in local politics, I guess, for 30 years, and I've just never, ever experienced the groundswell of opposition to this.
Peter Hewlin is not a councillor, but when 800 people turned up to a public meeting, he became the ringleader in a furious, albeit one-sided debate.
Then when we invited the DHS to come to the meeting and explain their point of view to us, on the day of the meeting, they then write to us and say, "Oh, we're not coming." That's just not acceptable.
Dr Andrew Harms has been put on the chair right at the end, and
the Department of Human Services wasn't the only group to snub the meeting. No representative from the Warrnambool City Council or the Australian Dental Association were present on the night.
Those sorts of public meetings, in the past we have found that they are not the best way of trying to get a message across, because you get some very vocal opponents of whatever you're trying to do, and it just becomes an impossible situation to try and get any message across to the people who want to listen.
The Department and Australian Dental Association share the view that the science to prove the benefits of fluoride is well-founded and well-documented.
The fact is that almost every major health organization in the world supports the use of fluoride in water, starting with the World Health Organization and going on to every other major health organization in Australia and overseas.
Dental decay is amongst the most expensive diseases we have. It rates in the top 2 of diet-related diseases. It's more than any other single disease like heart disease or asthma. It's a very expensive disease for the population, and we need to treat it in the most efficient economic way we can.
The debate has raged to varying degrees all over the world. The more extreme opponents say fluoride in drinking water causes bone cancer. Others, like Warrnambool Dr Natalie Ryan, take a different tack, suggesting the benefits of ingesting yet another chemical are overstated.
It's only when we go and read the original studies that that we're confronted with a different picture. The thing is that there's no long-term safety data in Australia. There's really no studies done on tissues other than teeth, and we know that the other main target tissue in the body are the bones, and there is data overseas that is suggesting significant potential health issues.
But more than anything, opponents are upset at being patronised by authorities they say are not interested in meaningful consultation.
In the case of Warrnambool, yes, that decision has been taken, and so it will proceed now. It will be some months, obviously, before this happens, because there are engineering works and so on that have to be undertaken. But what we are hoping is that as people get used to the idea, they will start to look at the evidence and they will be convinced that actually the evidence that we provide indicates that there are no huge health risks to this. In fact, it's all on the benefit side.
In 2002, Coliban Water backed down on plans to add fluoride to the Mount Alexander Shire water supply after community opposition. In the last 2 years, the state government has refocused on completing the rollout of fluoridation across the remaining areas of the state. But DHS can't say how much the policy will cost, how long it will take, or which part of the state will be next.
The resources don't allow us to do, all of these groups at the same time, and so we had to proceed in a kind of stepwise fashion. So I really can't say who is going to be next.
As the Department of Human Services has the law on its side, it appears the Warrnambool objectors need a political miracle to keep fluoride out of their water supply. For now, they're pinning their hopes on another of the Prime Minister's recent forays into state issues.
Our local federal member and Speaker of the House of Representatives, David Hawker, has been in contact with the Prime Minister. It's possible that the Prime Minister will intervene and allow a public plebiscite on this issue.
It might be a state government directive to put fluoride into water supplies throughout the state, but at the end of the day, in a democracy, if we don't want it, surely to God, we can't be forced to have it in our water.
Ultimately, public health authorities have to take some decisions for the benefit of the majority that may not, as I said, be welcomed by every single last person in a community. So I guess it's that rationale that drives this desire to ensure that fluoridation of water goes right across Victoria eventually, if possible.
Anthony Howard reporting. Now to a trip down memory